Hi. So we've done integers with integer tiles. So that was the one that you use a yellow tile or a positive sign as +1, and either a red tile or a negative in a negative sign in a circle as a negative tile, -1. And when you have both, you have 0. And that's the zero principle that we use to, and then that's what we used to solve some integer problems using the zero principle, as well as integer tiles. And another way to represent integers, that is using a number line. And when you're using a number line, and I like to think of it as thinking of temperatures or your finances. So whether you're, for example, you are earning money, you're borrowing money, which means you're in debt. That is a good way of think about it. I mean, we say we are in the red when we borrow money and we are in the negative, right? So that's one of the ways to understand, okay, how we can decode, how we can read the questions that we are looking at. I'm going to try with the temperatures first. And the most important thing here is that you always start with 0. Always start with 0. Okay, so how do you think you can read this question? 2 plus 1. Think on it. If it's a temperature, what does it mean? So, you start with 0, right? And what does it mean? What does the first number mean? That means first you have to go up to 2 degrees. You go up. So you 1, 1, and now I add 2. And what is the rest of the question asking you to do? What does that sign mean? That means add, right? So what am I adding? Well, I'm adding +1. So I am going to go up one more time, and that will leave me at 3. So if this is a thermometer and you started at 0 degrees, the temperature right now, because it went up from 0 to 2, you're starting at the temperature of 2 degrees, and you're adding one more, you're going up one more time, you're going up one more time. So 2 plus 1, and that will leave you at very cold 3 degrees. Well, apparently it was like that, and this is April 22nd, so it's something in Ottawa. Okay, so one more time. Different question. Okay, what if we have something like this? Then what do we do? So I will draw my number line once again. And remember, we are always starting with 0, right? So what do you think it means, temperature-wise? What are we saying? So you start off at 5 degrees. So first, start off at, I'm going to start here, 0, because this is where you always have to start. So you start off at 0. Well, currently temperature is 5 degrees, so you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have done this first. Not aligned properly. Oh well. So now I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm 5 degrees. And what is the rest of the question asking you to do? So you're adding -7. What does that mean? So when we did 2 plus 1, we added +1 by going upwards, right? So if I'm adding -7, now I have to go downwards. Okay, so I have to do that. I have to take 7 steps downwards. So I'm going to start doing that. First, I should probably have finished my number line first. -1, -2, -3, that kind of thing. So I'm going to take 7 steps downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I end up at -2. So if you're thinking of it in terms of temperatures, you always start at 0, and currently the temperature is 5. So you took 5 steps upwards, and you're at 5 degrees. And then because the operation was asking you to, you add -7. That means you add 7 steps downwards. So you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You arrived at -2. You could also think of it as starting at, 0 money. You're starting with 0 money, but you earned at some point $5. So you went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you have $5. However, you're adding -7. You could think of it as you're borrowing $7. So now you have to take 7 steps backwards. That means downwards. So you are going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now, although you started out with having $5, now you borrowed $7. So now you are owing $2. That means you're in the negative. So that's -2. So that's question number 2. And let's do a few more. So what about something like this? Okay, so what about that? Of course, I'm going to once again. 1, 2, I'm just 3. Okay, something like this. Okay, so always start with 0, right? So you know that this is your starting point. And we will look. Okay, so you're starting out with -3. So that means starting from 0, you will take steps, 3 steps downwards. 1, 2, 3. 3 steps back, downwards. And you are at -3. And what is the operation asking you to do next? So you will look over here. So operations is add. So add 2. So that's +2, right? So what you're going to do is you take 2 steps for going upwards. So you will take 1, 2, 1, 2. So now you are at -1. So you could understand this as you're starting, of course, you start at 0, and now the temperature went down to, at first, to -3 degrees, but it went up again by 2 degrees, and the current temperature is -1 degrees, right? That's one way to think about it. Or you always start at 0, and let's say you initially borrowed money from someone, so now you're at -3, but you actually did some chores, and you earned back $2. So how much do you still owe? Just $1. So you're in the negative, but by 1. So you could think of it as, your debt finance situation as well. So, more questions. All right. And now, what about that? where does it start? Well, you always start at 0. This is where you start. And first, well, think of it as temperature. What do you think is happening with this equation? Okay, you started with 0. Overnight, the temperature went down to 4 degrees, so that means you go back downwards and you take 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, I'm being a bit silly because I forgot to put negative signs over there. My bad. I am so sorry. Okay, there you go. That's better. This is positive if I want to put it. Okay, so now overnight the temperature dropped to -4 degrees. And what happened next? But the temperature actually went up. Did it? Not sure. It says add, well, it's asking it's add -3. So you could read this as the temperature went down to -4 overnight, and it went down even more. You added the quarter temperature by taking 3 more steps, right? So now the temperature went down to -4 degrees overnight, and it got colder, so you're taking 3 steps downwards to the -4. So what does that mean? That means you're taking 3 more steps downwards, which will leave you at -7. So that means the current temperature is -7 degrees. Like t-shirt weather for other ones, right? Okay, so if this is a dead situation, you had no money, you borrowed money, you borrowed $4, and you borrowed $3 more, and you are now in debt by $7. You could think of it that way as well. So adding kind of makes sense, I hope. And it gets tricky when you see an operation sign here and when it becomes minus. What does that mean now? Okay. And now this is a negative sign. So what does that mean? Okay. The first part is the same. Okay, so you always start with 0. I'm going to write my number signs again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you start at 0 and you take, this is the same step, right? The temperature dropped by 4 degrees overnight, so you go downwards, or you borrowed $4, so you go down, you take 4 steps downwards. That part is fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you are at -4. And this is the way it gets tricky. So what does that mean? Minus sign, you're not adding anything. Well, if we use the same language as we were using with the integer tiles, that means we are taking it away. Oh, that doesn't work. Need a new marker. Okay. Take away. Take away. You take away -3. What does that mean? So you are well, if this was the add sign, what you would have, if this was like this, right? If this was that plus add -3, then you would have added taking 3 steps downwards, right? But you are not adding it anymore, we are taking it away. So what does that mean? So if we are taking that away, in order to take these 3 steps away, 1, 2, 3, my 3 steps downwards, then I have to go in the opposite direction. So when I'm taking it away, I'm going upwards, and I'm taking 1, 2, 3 steps to take away the 3 steps that I took downwards. So here, instead of adding 3 steps downwards, I am taking away 3 steps downwards. That means I'm taking steps going upwards. Okay, this is the important point, so I'm going to repeat it again. Okay, so if I'm adding -3, that meant this. I am taking 3 steps downwards. You could think of it as temperature going down by 3 more degrees. Maybe you're borrowing $3 more, right? So you're taking this part means you're adding -3. That means you're taking 3 steps downwards. Here, now I am taking negative steps. So that means taking away, going 3 steps downwards. So this part, that means I am taking steps upwards, right? I'm taking 3 steps upwards because I'm doing the opposite. So what I'm doing is from -4, I am taking away these 3 steps that I took downwards. So I'm going up 1, 2, and 3. And this is where I end up, -1. Okay, this is the important part. Okay, so I'm going to do one more question. Okay, what if it is like, okay, what if like this? I'm going to draw a number sign again. You can see this? Yes, good. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you always start with 0, which is good, right? And what is the first thing we are doing? Well, it's +2, right? It's a little positive sign right there. So you go upwards. The temperature went up by 2 degrees. You earned $2. So you go 1, 2. Okay, great. That part is easy. And now it is the negative sign over here. This is the minus sign. What do you do? So that means take away, right? And we go back to what we were talking about before. So when we had something like this, add -5, what we did was we took 5 steps downwards. Add -5. So wherever we were on the number line, doesn't matter what the number is, we took 5 steps downwards. So let's say if we started out here, we took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps downwards, right? But now we are not adding 5 steps downwards. We are taking that away. So what do? So in order to take these steps away, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is what I'm doing right over here. I'm taking away the 5 steps that I took downwards. So that's what I'm going to do right over here. So I'm going to take away the 5 steps going downwards. So instead, I'll go upwards. I'm doing the opposite. So I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And where do I end up? I end up at 7. So this is the interesting part. So when you're looking at it, it is very important to read what is going on. And I think the analogy of the temperature really quite doesn't work perfectly in this situation, because what you take away, it actually might work, because you could think of it as, okay, the temperature went up to 2 degrees and you are taking away the temperature going down 5 degrees. So instead of temperature going down 5 degrees, you're taking that away. So you're making the temperature go up by 5 degrees. So you could think of it that way. But I think the debt situation works much, much better in these cases. So 2 minus -5. That means first, okay, you started out at 0, you earned $2, and you're taking away your debt. You're taking away your debt by $5. So that means you are adding $5 because you're taking away your debt, right? You're taking away your debt. So that's one way to think about it. So you can think of it as, you know what, I borrowed $5 from someone before, but you're taking that away. Now you are making that go away. That means you must have earned back those $5, right? So this is $2, and you're taking away your $5 in debt. So you're adding $5 to the $2. That means you end up at $7. Okay, so that's one other way. So this is the way you can represent integers instead of using integer tiles. For some people, to me, tiles work better, but this might be easier to understand in terms of the integers connections to our real everyday lives, debt, finances, temperature, that kind of thing. So I hope you get to practice this, and thank you for watching.